Greetings. Our readings today are Exodus chapters 30 to 32. Chapter 31, we read about the Sabbath law, which is a sign of the Sinai covenant, a reminder on how honoring and keeping the Sabbath is very important to God. In chapter 32, we read about the golden calf, which is a reminder of human impatience and rebellion towards God. There seems to be a contrast in the faithfulness of Moses and the weakness of Aaron that's played out in our readings today. As this incident is unfolding with the golden calf, God becomes very angry. He wants to consume the Israelites with his wrath. Notice how we see God almost singing a different tune here. Right? He tells Moses, these are your people that you led out of Egypt. Up to this point, God says, I am the Lord your God who has led you out of the land of Egypt. You are my people. Moses pleads with God. He says that really this is not going to be good PR for you if you were to consume the Israelites. What would the Egyptians think? To say nothing of the fact of the promises that you've made to Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. And it seems like God has changed his mind here, which is a fascinating theological question to ponder and discuss. Does God change his mind? It certainly looks like that's what's happening here. But let's not also underestimate the growth and faithfulness of Moses. He's been listening to God. He remembers who delivered them from the land of Egypt in this conversation and prayer to God. He remembers that this God wants to dwell with the Israelites. He remembers the promise that this God has made to the patriarchs. So this exchange between God and Moses is fascinating, has many dimensions and theological angles to ponder for sure. But in a way, I would argue that God doesn't really change at all here. We're the ones that have changed, right? The incident with the golden calf reminds us how easy it is for our feelings towards God to change. That we can be devoted to something else so quickly that our hearts can be filled with other idols in our lives. Moses doesn't change who God is by this interaction. He proclaims who God is. God is what we aren't. That's faithful, right? God delivers us. God wants to abide with us. God claims us. And while we might forget and abandon God, that's kind of the good news here, is that we are dealing with a God, Moses is dealing with a God that would never renege on his promises and love for us. This is, I think, a beautiful message that we're getting in the book of Exodus today. And a reminder that when we turn to God in prayer, to recall who God is in our prayers, and knowing that we're dealing with a God who's never going to forget his promises and never going to stop loving us. Those are some thoughts for today. Take care and God bless.